Greetings everyone, and Great here with another Age of Empires, Advanced Wars, Days of Ruin, Tiny Wars replay. Spawn on the left side as the red is that Tubbo or Penny? That's Penny. Somebody had trouble seeing the turn to screen up there. Spawn on the left side as the red Penny. We've got yukikaze? No idea. Spawn on the right side as the purple Caulder. We've got Tschjo. I pronounced that as well. Either way, when it comes to these COs, any of those, of course, the standard boarding cost, standard 3, 30, 60, 60, as, of course, provides plus 15% offensive defense pool of units in CO zone, and all units outside of CO zone, as well as inside, does get unaffected by weather, and its power causes 3 turns of random weather. It may not seem like much, but she's actually an A tier or S tier CO, because she can chain weather, and effectively, weather is 3 turns of a superpower of how effective weather can be. Caulder, of course, is slightly reworked from the cartridge counterpart. Has standard boarding cost, 2 radius, 0 expansion, 0 energy, and of course every unit inside of his CO zone provides plus 25% offense and defense and plus 2 healing per turn, though it does consume funds. No power, no superpower. Let's go and get started. This map is relatively large. It appears to be a triple base map, double airport with a seaport, another seaport there. So this map is quite large. There is a good number of shores down here, so this map is not a map for battleships. It's a map just meant for lander play and mobility play. Additionally, both players do start off sitting in the corner, so it does warrant P players to go into the corner first. Bike there, bike there. There's a pair of uncaptured temporary airports inside of the map. Once you get those, you get a forward place to resupply your aircraft. There's this double shore there, so that's perfectly traversable by land units, just that the wheeled units don't move all too well on shores, like planes. At least in Days of Ruin. Transporters by web, shores are no different than roads and bridges. In Days of Ruin, a lot more tile sets, a lot more variety in tiles and what they can and can't do. As with some changes, cities no longer provide 3 terrain sources, just 2. Forests no longer provide 2 terrain sources, just 3. You now have artillery piece up north, while Caulder's will tank, which maybe command put a CO to the side of it. Nope. Anti-air infantry. And Penny has loaded herself up inside of the bike. Mr. Bear is in sidecar. Man the machine gun. The 3 expansion zone, it's pretty easy to get her power charge up and going. And maybe we should take time and just show you what random weather will do. Or what our superpower will do. So if she pops a sandstorm for 3 turns, your opponent has minus 30% offense. That is massive. Snowy, all your opponent's units get minus 1 movement, which is not too bad, but can be quite significant. Depends on your opponent's composition and current positioning. And rainy, this can be horrible in the case of not Fog of War maps, since you tend not to get flares out unless it's Fog of War. In this case, popping rain will completely blind the opponent for 3 turns, where he has to stumble in the woods while you have still quite reasonable vision. Tanks will still see 3 for Penny. Tanks for Caulder will still only see 1. I generally think rain is far more powerful than not Fog of War maps because of that aspect. Flares do still have same effect, but you don't build flares unless it's Fog of War. Though flares actually are decent combatants. It feels weird how well they punch above their weight. And he now has 4 energy. Not too much at the moment. Caulder's command tank could strike Penny. Nope. Penny does fall back onto that city there. Caulder now has 20,000. Penny has 19. Got an artillery. What? Triple artillery? Okay, that's interesting. This map does have a good number of mountains here, so artillery has quite a bit of cover. Hopefully he doesn't roll rain, because then they will be shooting blind. Tank, battlecopter, mech, infantry. So both players are ready for a big clash in the center. Caulder charges forward with his command tank. Anti-air picks off the infantry unit there. Caulder doesn't really care what unit gets loaded into his CO, his CO unit is, because it does not have to worry about any sort of CO charge anyway. So bigger the better generally, but weaker is not a bad option either, because it'll be cheaper. For repairs. Penny may need to lead a counterattack. Could get a decent amount of power charge this turn. Just need to position the command tank in a good, smart position. Maybe on top of that city there. Needs as much power charge before repositioning her tank. 20 energy. She could get her superpower charged up this turn. Mech sacks itself. Strikes Caulder's command tank. And yeah, like I said, Penny just got her superpower charged up. Whether or not she survives this next turn is another matter. Caulder's command tank will receive a bit of repairs there. 76 if the CO unit moves back a little bit. Yep, she's done. So no CO power this turn. She needs a CO power to really gain an edge for 3 turns. Battlecopter, tank, A-tier, and base skip. Caulder's command tank does go down, but the battlecopter is already on top of the HQ. You can seal the battlecopter next turn and get straight into the fight. There's strike there in the tank. Tank does go down. A-tier does take a pretty good hit there. A-tier goes down. Good gains there by Penny at 119. Caulder starts turn 99 with 22,000 bank, so they're turn even. Does seal the battlecopter as expected. There's some these units, outlying units. Caulder now has 27,000 versus 22,000, so does have a much better income, or day-to-day income. Penny could seal herself into another bike, cheaping out on the CO unit. Caulder's trying to flip a product down south and greatly increase the income difference as well if that happens. Need some energy charge there. Join caps. Some of the strikes there, but does go in the range of both these artillery pieces, so that's quite bold. Takes up the Caulder command copter, but got another battle copter on top of the HQ, so it could be sealed there. Maybe should have left that 2 health. Good shot there in the anti-air. And this anti-tank is going to be slow rolling forward. medium tank, infantry, battle, or light tank. Mech is good strike there, 16 energy. Makes some good hits there. Strikes the capture unit there, takes the tank there, good strike. Artillery piece gets a good hit. Lacking some tanks here overall. The amount of anti-airs, though with the amount of CO'd battlecopters, the anti-airs make some pretty good sense. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Mobile battlecopter is quite nice. It is quite a bit of distance just to get to the combat zone. Now we got medium tank and anti-tank in this region. Let's go drop down some outlying units there. Got 97 versus 91. So Caulder's on pull ahead. Tank. 35 energy for Penny. Possible seal power next turn. Actually, I think she will get her superpower this turn. She needs 25 energy. There's 10, 18, 23, 31. Yeah, she will get her superpower this turn. And this will give her the edge she needs. Needs 7 more damage. And there we go, superpower. What weather do you think she'll get? Close combat in 3, 2, 1. Sandstorm. So that will neuter Caulder's forces by 30% firepower for 3 turns. And not to mention, for this turn only, she gets plus 15 as well. If she get enough supercharge easily enough to get another superpower by the time this sandstorm ends. This is where the power of Penny is. She can start chaining weather. Her first superpower is the start of a snowball. It all depends how well it goes from there. Caulder's command copter does a good strike there. Interior, tank, infantry, artillery. Sandstorm's usually always good weather to get. Snow and rain's situational. And sometimes those situational ones are very good situationals. Caulder has a nice little death wall, but good enough artillery there as well. Of course, she's now weaker this turn, having one less, 10% less fire offense defense. But she can still get some good amount of power charge this turn. Picks up those units, strikes out the command copter, does not take it out. Down to 8% health, so that one health infantry unit will not be able to take it down. Already at 30 energy. And leaving this alive means he will spend funds on these units being repaired on up, but they won't be too impactful. The artillery piece, however, got a really good strike there. Lots of good kills there, and Caulder has to put out a full fighter. Don't think a full fighter is going to be too... the amount of battlecopters in the field, I think Dusters would have been a little bit better. Anti-air. Okay, I think Caulder's panicking a little bit too much to take on the aircraft. I think Dusters would have been fine. Maybe go for 2 turns of Dusters. Let's take out that unit there, 39 energy. And there you go. Penny has no superpower available. She can probably pull back the bike just to make sure it stays safe. The sandstorm will will end at the start of her next turn. Do know as well, wastelands or ruins only provide 1 defense star. They're not good defense terrains. It's no different than a plains. In fact, they have the same traversement as a plain. Yeah, don't overvalue ruins. Caulder COs the fighter. At that point in time, you really should have CO'd the Duster, because the CO'd Duster is still very good at taking out battlecopters. Though in this case, the sheer overpowered in that case, not to mention spending all the money COing the fighter itself, will help overcome the sandstorm. And Penny should probably pop her superpower this turn. What weather? Rain. In this turn, she has no fog of war, I believe. But Caulder's going to be completely blind. He's going to have trouble hunting anything down. He has one vision range for all of his units. Anti-air gets a good strike on the fighter. Next two turns, Penny will still have to deal with the Fog of War, but her units will have completely normal vision Fog of War, which means tanks can still see 3, battlecopters still see 2, but this is Caulder's vision range. Absolutely abysmal. Even the fire can't, if a vision range gets quenched. The cities have one tile can only spot on top of itself. Oh, and the damage in the fighter is going to be repaired on up over time, so it's going to be very hard to deal with, but it's going to be expensive repairs over time. Yeah, I really think he should have gone for Duster. Penny's turn, you can see here, she now has normal vision range, which is still perfectly adequate. Barring around here. And it definitely affects her. It is a little bit double-edged sword, but one edge is clearly more sharp than the other when this double-edged sword. Because right now, Caulder can't see this tank, nor this tank there. Does get a strike on the anti-tank. It will be repaired up by Caulder's CO zone, but just simply drains a decent amount of funds there. Right now, 120,000 versus 96. And it's still going to be 2 more turns of rain that Caulder has to deal with. Let's take out the command bike there, so no more chain of weather. It probably needs to be sealed in this tank there. Maybe it's bike up there low as well. She's been sealing bikes. Tank mech anti-air. Does seal the bike there. Does get trapped there. This ATR should get a good shot at that battlecopter. Fighter should have good vision on some of these battlecopters, so some of these battlecopters will go down. Another tank, anti-air, and battlecopter. Does get trapped there. Pretty good trap. So the weather will end. So Caulder can start seeing and start actually making more proper pushes. And the fighter's still going around uncontested. The anti-airs are very far behind. They just now got the full field, so Caulder's fighter is doing work. The rain has now subsided. Penny has 103 in the field. Caulder has 106, so Caulder's did quite a good job of braving the storm. Artillery, battlecopter, infantry, anti-air. He does have another battlecopter himself to hold in the field. And now he can play around the anti-airs. He knows his fighter still has free reign over the map. Can't strike either battlecopter of impunity though. This anti-air is in range to retaliate. Does decide to take a shot there. It has pretty good defense still, and plus has a bit of a buffer of everything. But looks like the anti-air will strike the fighter if the tank just pulls back. Does sack the tank there. We'll get some power charge this turn. That's 25 NG. Make that 34 now. So possible CO power next turn. Tank, infantry, battlecopter, tank. Anti-air, battlecopter, and double infantry there. And Penny's bike does go down. Can't have that weather going for anymore. Caulder's doing a good job of keeping that stuff healed. The anti-tank is at 1 ammo, so it does need a resupply. Just probably fall back to the city to get the resupply. And Penny has now loaded herself into a tank. And Penny does have a good core of units here. Anti-airs, tanks, artillery, a good mix of everything. Caulder does have a good number of mechs here being pushed forward by the T-Copter, which is very nice. He is still building battlecopters himself. Anti-tank has 1 shot remaining, either fire or fall back to the city. Does have decided to fire. Picks off on those battlecopters, very nice, being hyper aggressive, and use the aura there to strike that tank. But now the anti-tank is dead in the water. Just throw enough bodies at it and it will run out of ammo. Not a great strategy, but it is a strategy. 116 versus 89, 128. So Caulder has a pretty good advantage. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. And got now a spam bot on the kick. Spam bot removed. Penny right now has 34 energy. Possibly she can pull out superpower this turn. Be a little bit difficult. Actually, not too difficult. She right now also has 82,000 versus 129. There's opportunity she can get out a superpower this turn. 51 energy just needs, and there's a superpower. And Sandstorm. That'll blunt the assault. Caulder's in a great position, but this is greatly going to blunt his capabilities. Minus 30% firepower, plus combination, plus 15% defense this turn. It makes it going to be very hard for Caulder to push forward. His command fighter is actually running low on both ammo and fuel. Has 1 ammo remaining. I probably was wrong about the command fighter. It's been far more effective than expected. Still believe Duster would be the best call though. And now we do have a rig to pull on the field, because he actually does need the resupply capability. He could also go for a forward temporary port, though this temporary port has never been captured yet. He would have got that, he would at least had a forward resupply point. But now Penny has 3 turns of sandstorms to help protect her to let her regroup forces, but she's doing a good job. Even has 22 energy, almost 29 energy, almost enough for halfway there for another power. Battlecopter pushing down south, ATR, and there's also this infantry here. Battlecopter, tank, ATR, or artillery, and infantry. And now Penny's CO zone has expanded. Resupplies command fighter. He eventually healed itself. It's another battlecopter for it to engage up there. still some units down south, mostly in favor of Caulder. Takes out that unit. Penny, of course, lost her command units, so no more power charge. Sears herself into artillery piece, because it's the closest thing nearby. She doesn't have to. It's a cheap unit. It provides the powerful, her not so powerful aura, but a reasonable aura effect. Command copter may go down. Another thing as well, it's also pretty safe unit to pop the CEO power whip since it's usually out of range. One last turn for sandstorms. Manfighter does fall back. Medium tank now advanced. Got a good number of units here, including a couple more artillery pieces to help ward away against it. Anti-air, and the sandstorm has subsided, so Caulder's firepower is back up to full. Get some good picks there. Looks like there's no anti-air down south, or at least there's one there. Rig gets shot up a little bit. And the temporary report still, on both sides, still despicably neutral. And Penny does get 27 power charges her, and very nice. Good strike there, takes out the tank. Fighter does strike that copter, even though it's at 6 health, almost took it out. Here struck there. A lot of stuff here of Penny's getting wounded. She probably won't get her superpower this turn. She probably needs to use the command artillery piece to fire away. Anti-air will get up to 6, so we'll be able to get some good damage from the various air units. Get some good damage, 44 energy. Is she trying to go for the C? Nope, no CO power. A lot of stuff wounded there, so it's going to be eating a lot of Caulder's fundings. Anti-air Duster infantry. Command tank or command artillery piece will like to go down this turn. Good strike there. Penny does go down again, unable to get any more superpowers going. Caulder is slicing through her army. Down 94, 91 versus 111. And of course, his day-to-day income, so it'll be up to 130. Try and flip some properties there. Penny's turn, down 80,000 versus 130. She's down by 50,000. Load seals the infantry unit there. Will gets a power charge, just trying to squeeze out power charge before any more. Before the next conflict, just trying to get a superpower to help dull this force here. Caulder's a death ball CO. Artillery, infantry, battlecopter, tank. Caulder only went for tank T-copter last turn. Strikes a Duster for a good amount of damage there. Nothing to really stop the fighter. Meteor strikes the battlecopter. Looks like Caulder's getting more and more advantage. 69,000 versus 144. And Penny does go ahead and resign. That was a very good game, as Angrade saying. Thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.